Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verses 21 to 30.
तेतं भुक्त्वा स्वर्गलोकं विशालम् क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ति एवं त्रयी धर्ममनुप्रपन्नाः गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् येऽप्यन्यदेवता भक्ताः यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेऽपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्त्यविधिपूर्वकम् अहं हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु मामभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्च्यवन्ति ते यान्ति देवव्रता देवान् पितॄन्यान्ति पितृव्रताः भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्याः यान्ति मद्याजिनोऽपि माम् पत्रं पुष्पं फलं तोयं यो मे भक्त्या प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्त्युपहृतम् अश्नामि प्रयतात्मनः यत्करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोषि ददासि यत्तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम् शुभाशुभफलैरेवम् मोक्ष्यसे कर्मबन्धनैः सन्न्यासयोगयुक्तात्मा विमुक्तो मामुपैष्यसि समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु न मे द्वेष्योऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम् अपि चेत् सुदुराचारः भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्तव्यः सम्यग्व्यवसितो हि सः.
Throughout these past few verses, he has been talking about just one idea for us to digest. In various ways, he said this thing, excuse me, but the point stays the same. The self is the beginning, the middle, and the end. I am the subject that enjoys the yajna, means that experiences the yajna. I am the ultimate experiencer of that. I am the one who sustains the yajna, and I am the purpose of the yajna. As long as we can live our life with this one thought, we do what is known as classical living. The moment you forget this thought, he says, Chavantiti. Chavantiti means they fall. You forget the whole point of the exercise. There's no other purpose of it. And the sad part about forgetting it is not merely that you will not achieve the purpose of existence and things like that. The saddest part about forgetting it is how much we will get disturbed, how much our mind will get agitated. That is what is the saddest part. Classical living means you will be happy now, you will be happy in the future, and you will be happy permanently. Non-classical living means your happiness now is questionable, future is questionable, and permanent happiness is not questionable. That you're definitely not getting. It's a sad thing when we have a perfectly designed path for us. Why on earth would we try anything else? Why on earth would we do that? Imagine this. In most things, human beings pass on their knowledge to the next generation, right? So whatever we have found in the past, okay, somebody found out how to ride a horse and go quicker to their destination. And then somebody else found out how to put that horsepower into an engine. I don't know if you remember the first cars. They were actually just the carriage with a little engine put inside. And then that car and that horse carriage with the engine converted to those automobiles and have become today's modern cars, maybe even driverless cars. So all this knowledge has percolated down. Somebody started something, and each generation started from whatever the previous generation had left. Then why are we so stupid not to do the same when it comes to living our lives? They left us a knowledge. Let us start with that. Let us not start with something else. Let us start with that. Then along the way, if you find reason to change, please change. Why not start with that? Why start with something else? Try to rediscover the way. Start with this. See if it works. If it doesn't work, don't it. But this is the way we should do it. Now you will say, what do you mean start? We are all attending your classes and we are attending so regularly. Same faces and same names I see all the time. So why are you saying start? You know what he told us? Remember, he is the beginning, he is the middle, and he is the end. And if we forget that, Chavantite, they fall. That is why he is known as Achyuta, the one who has never fallen. Never fallen means he has never forgotten. There is no fall if you can remember this much. It's not possible to fall. Why not? Because where are you going to fall and how are you going to fall? You're already in that which is all pervading. Where are you going to go from there now? Keep the mind there. That's what he said. Yat karoshi yadashnasi. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever is going on in your life, remember him and do it. And this is really the bottom line of it. If we can do that much, we're good in every way. You forget this, then okay. Book to fir kya kar sakte. That doesn't mean you may not make mistakes. You'll make mistakes maybe, but you'll be protected. It is your kavacha and kundala. Don't give it away. Don't give it away to Indra who comes asking for it. Indra means the mind. The mind will involve you in so many things. Don't give it away. So if you can do that much, okay, what are you asked to do? Just remember. That's all you're asked to do. Nothing else. Nobody asked you to do anything fantastic. Just remember. Remember what this whole thing is all about. Just that much. And then what does he say will happen? Shubha, Ashubha, Falai, Evam, Mokshase, Karma Bandhanehi. You will be from the bonds of actions liberated. Liberation from the bond of action. Say, oh my God, what is the bond of action? The bond of action, very simple, is desire. When we do not act properly in this world, what we create is vasana. Now, so what, I create desires, what's your problem? I won't have a problem if you create desires. You won't have a problem if I create desires. But whoever does have desires will have a problem because they will get into a bondage. A bondage means that they are not free. It means that you will be caught by something. And even if you struggle to free yourself, won't be able to. Suppose you're a hot-tempered person and you struggle to free yourself from it, can't do it. Suppose you want to sleep at night, but thoughts are running fast in your head, can't sleep. You want to do the right things, you won't be able to do them. This is your bondage. Your bondage and my bondage and all our bondage. And all this bondage comes because of
Desires.
desire. And the desire comes because
Vasanas.
and the desire, the vasana comes because of
Not remembering the self.
Ignorance of the
not
self.
remembering the self. Very good, Bharat. You forgot the self. You say, oh, no, that is too high for me. What do you mean too high for you? That's a fact of life. What is high and low in that? That's a fact. You forget the fact, you create desires. You create desires, you get into bondage. Now you want to get out of the bondage, remember this. That's what he says. Shubha, Ashubha, Phalam, Evam Mokshase. Imagine that. Suppose something positive happens in your life, something negative happens in your life. Are you not bound? Bound means completely taken over by that emotion and not able to free yourself from it. From that emotion, from that action, from that circumstance, completely tied up. The problem with us is often we don't understand our own bondage. We won't say I'm bound. We will say he did this and she did that. We don't recognize that problem as my bondage. I recognize the problem as somebody else's mistake. It's really very sad. And that problem never goes away because according to you, somebody else is making some mistake. This is how we become victims. Whenever you give the power of your life into somebody else's hands, you become what is known as a victim. Whenever you take that power back and say, I am responsible for this, you are a creator of your future. So when we say that, then people say, oh, you people say, oh, how is it my fault? It's not my fault, it's their fault. And you justify, how can I, which wife will tolerate her husband is an alcoholic and is not looking after his family duties? Which wife will tolerate that he's having some relationship? The pain that women go through when their husbands are found to be having some external relationship. It's horrible, can't even see that pain. What pain that is. And when they go through that pain, what will they say? Will they say, I'm in bondage? They will say, he is so horrible. How can he do that? How can he break the marriage vow like that? And they're right. Who will deny it? And yet completely wrong. Vedanta provides us a way out of that pain. Let's hold it and get the hell out of here. The way out. Amount of pain Not only are people, these kids, they fall in love with somebody and all, and then that girl or that boy doesn't talk to them, or their most common thing is they block each other. They keep blocking each other. That means now you can't call me. And then they divorce. So weird things. And everybody's sobbing and everybody's weeping and all. Creation of mess. Now, suppose you stop them and you say, you realize you're being rather stupid. And if you genuinely want to have a relationship with the person, here is a prescribed procedure. Follow it. That person will come to you. Will they do any of that? I'll tell you from experience, they won't do it. They will keep on crying, they will keep on fighting, they will keep on blocking each other, but they will not do what is required to make this relationship work. इतने तो पागल सब लोग हैं, क्या करें इनके साथ? The thing is, when we do stupid things, who is the person who's suffering? I am the person who's suffering, right? If I do something idiotic, I'm going to be the one suffering. What is the use of anybody else saying whatever they are saying? And really, sometimes when that pain is there, what can anyone do? How can anyone help you? Your pain you have to bear, my pain I have to bear. How is anyone supposed to help us with that? The loneliness, the pain, the insecurities, all of this of life, who's going to bear it? So many women I've heard, and men also, so lonely. No companionship, just so lonely. Now, who's going to? They feel if they talk to me, that pain will go away. No, it won't. They feel if they come to class, it will go away. No, it won't. It won't go away by these methods. It will go away by
Remembering.
It will go away by
Remembering the good.
Fulfilling the
remembering. Very
Full
good.
of self-realization.
You have forgotten what we're talking. Remember what we're talking about, right?
By
The
abstinence.
Lord's instruction to us. Abstinence. What happened to you, Bhavana? Please follow the line of thought. Where did we start? We started with, there is only one message in these last few verses, actually in the whole Gita, but here he's specifically saying that, which is, what is the message of these last few verses?
self alone.
He is the beginning, the end. Remember the self.
Remember the self. Is that? How remember the self? The reason you could do the action is because the self. The reason it is maintained is because of the self. And what is the purpose of doing it is the self also. In every way, only he is there. So why are you seeing something else? Right. Now you say, no. I can't see the self. I can see something else. When you see something else, you create
Bondage.
Desires.
You create desires. When you create desires, you create
Bondage.
Bondage.
bondage. Very good. You create bondage. When you create a desire, you create a bondage. When you create a bondage, you create
Pain.
deep sorrow.
Suffering.
Suffering.
Misery.
Correct. And deep one, which you cannot get rid of. You want to pluck it out and throw it away, but you can't. Now, why are you doing that? And then you say, okay, tell me something by which I'll feel better. Okay, I'll tell you something by which you'll feel better, but that pain is not going to go away. It's just going to come back. So why are you doing this? When there is a proper way of doing things, why are you hurting yourself? You say, why are you hurting yourself? Then people will say, oh, but I didn't do it. He did this, and he did this, and he did this. You know what? He can do all those things, and she can do all those things, and you can still be totally calm. Why don't you choose a path that is like that? It makes no sense if you think about it. Do you all agree? Makes no sense, no? You have no control over how other people will behave most of the time. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But most of the times you don't have control. But you can have control over how you behave. And if you establish that control well, then other people do whatever they want, you're comfortable. Is that sensible? Sound sensible or not? Is that a yes or a no? I can't see also. I don't know whether you all are saying yes or no.
Yes.
On your video.
Yes.
Or say yes or something.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Bolo.
Yes, Shanti ji.
Okay. So are you buying into the theory?
Yes.
Okay. So please, if you're buying into the theory, then if I will know that you bought into the theory when you ask me the question, therefore,
How are we supposed to remember the self?
if you're buying into the theory, you will ask the question. Very good. Very good. Very good, Sangeeta. If you buy into the theory, you will say, okay, what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do now? Now that I don't need to answer because that you already know. I hope you already know. You all know, right, what you're not supposed to do? Do your karma, do your bhakti, do your jnana. Do it in a disciplined manner. Think to yourself, what is the jnana I'm going to do on a daily basis? What is the karma I'm going to do on a daily basis? What is the bhakti I'm going to do on a daily basis? Do it, please. Don't just say, okay, no, we should do it. It's very good. Do it. Because results come out of
Right action.
better action. No,
Efforts.
results, Bharat. You can't say right action. You have to
Efforts.
say results come out of
Efforts.
Action.
action, not out of dreams.
Committed action. Committed
When
action.
you perform an action, sorry,
Committed action. Commitment towards the action every day. The same. Commitment towards the
yeah,
action.
whatever action, as much action as you do, whether you're consistent or otherwise, whatever action you do, that can give you a result. If there is no action, there can be no result. So you must be clear in your head, what is the action that I have programmed on a daily basis? This is not just talk in the air, you know. We converted to talk in the air. It feels so nice to listen to these nice things. Okay, Pagal, is there something to listen or is there something to execute? So you have to ask yourself the question, what am I doing on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a monthly basis, whatever you choose to do. But remember, your result will be in proportion to
Your action.
to your action. Very good. If this much is clear to you, you're in a good place. Isn't it? If we want to create a university and we are all dedicated to it, the only question, okay, suppose I say, when will this university come? Then the answer is
As soon as we start working.
When we start working on it.
Not when we start working on it. It will be the sum total of actions that actually took place for it. So suppose we do one action once a month for that university. When will the university come? After we are all dead and gone, maybe. Right? Similarly, if you take one action once a month for your spiritual growth, when is this going to happen? So when do you want your spiritual growth? By when have you conceived? Say, okay, I want to be a mature person. By when?
ASAP.
Huh?
ASAP, as soon as possible.
Okay, then have you done the action ASAP? Action to karna nahi hai, ASAP bolna hai. To फिर कैसे होगा?
Like you said yesterday, Janki ma'am, that desires that have boundaries become a goal. So if you have a goal, you have a desire, then obviously and you are consistently committed towards that desire and that goal, I think that's how it'll come into action.
Yes. So, but if you're assessing by when will it come, you need to not assess that. You need to assess how many actions have I performed. In our case, it's very easy. How many times in the last, let's say, 6 months, have I gotten up and studied? Even if I didn't make it between 4 and 6, did I get up and study at all? Did I do it? And study means what? Not like somebody else told me I have to study, some tension on my head, I have to study. Do I understand this, the connection between the study and what I'm trying to do? So once I figured this out in my head, what have I to figure out in my own head? Not because somebody told you. You figured this thing out in your head. What have you figured out? That all my misery is caused by a bondage I'm in. I can't release myself of that misery, of the loneliness, of any negative thing that I have in my life because I'm bound. And the reason I'm bound is because of Gaya?
Desire.
Endless desire.
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 I'm bound because of desire. As much as desire, that much bondage. One desire, that much bondage. 100 desires, that much bondage. It's a direct proportion. That's why they say it's very scientific, because it's all a direct proportion of all these things. So how much bondage? Proportional to desire, right? How much desire? Proportional to
Memory of self.
Ignorance.
indirectly proportional. Not memory. How much do you work towards the self? Will tell you how much desires you have, because these two are indirectly proportional. More self, less desires. Less self, more desires. Simple, no?
Janki ji,
Huh?
Janki ji, may I understand one thing? When you say you work towards yourself, so doesn't that also make you self-centered desires? Like you're working towards yourself, you're recognizing what you want, what is it? I mean, I'm getting a little confused with that. When you work towards yourself, the
Okay,
proportion.
remove the word self and put God.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Excuse me, Hariom Di, I have a question. Where do emotions lie in between this, the self and the desire? How to deal with them?
If your thought is on the self, then you'll, okay, that, what are the specific things you will do for any particular thing will depend on the specifics of that. Emotion is a general term, right? So all our actions, all our emotions, and all our thoughts have to be directed to the self. But you're not going to be able to do that. If you say, I have to direct all action, emotion, and thoughts to the self, becomes tough. And that is your sadhana, that's your struggle. If you could direct it, then now where's the sadhana and where's the struggle? If you can't direct it, you're realized soul. Because we can't direct it, therefore we have a sadhana. Sadhana means what? It comes from the word sadhan, means. We are adopting some means. Because it says sadhana and all, no, suddenly we make it all sound very, oh, we have to do sadhana. What? Sadhana only means what is your means. And what is your means is dependent upon what are you trying to achieve. So what do I do with my emotions? I have to understand what is my situation. Are my emotions getting disturbed because of something in particular? Then I have to deal with that thing. Like suppose my emotions are getting disturbed because I'm lonely, for instance. Then I have to deal with it. Suppose my emotions are disturbed because I recently faced the passing away of a close person. So you have to find out what is the issue and deal with it specifically. By saying emotions, we won't know what to do, right? It's like saying, what shall I do with my actions? Or what shall I do with my thoughts? You have to know what you're dealing with. Choose what you're dealing with and deal with it. Finish it off once and for all. Whole life long, same question, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Hariom Janki ji, can I have a question? Okay, so we are speaking about, you just gave an example of loneliness and all, passing away, but I'm speaking about something very terrible happened. For instance, a mother loses her son. So if that mom has not focused on the self all her life, then this is going to be very terrible, right? And how she can get over it, ma'am? It's impossible, right? Or even if you're focused on self, you've done your sadhana, you've done your study, a terrible incident like this cannot get you out of it, right? Just wanted your viewpoints.
You know, there's a lady in the class. I mean, I don't think she's here today. At least I hope she's not here today because I'm going to tell you her story. She had 2 sons. She's been attending class. She, her whole family, were very close students and attending class. And her son was going to get married. One son is married, second son is getting married. Not her favorite child, but she was close to the second son. And she was absolutely delighted because she was as close to the girl that they had found. So she was like, this is the perfect girl for my daughter, and she just loved for my son, and she just loved that girl. So they were very excited, and they were doing all the tayari of the wedding. They were big family, rich family. You know how they have destination weddings and all the clothes and all the whole tamasha is on. And the boy was not feeling well. They discovered this is all okay. Marriage preparation is on. Date cards are being designed, jewelry, clothes are being bought. The boy is not feeling well. He went to a doctor. They found out he has cancer. He died within a month. I mean, in the midst, they didn't even stop the stuff because he's a 24-year-old boy. People are able to get out of cancer, right? And then one day on the chemo table, he just collapsed. Somebody has to call that mother and father and give this news. What do you think she went through? And yet when, call me to that unfortunate event where what do they call it? Not Uthamna, whatever it is, where you have to say a few words.
Chotha.
Yeah, something where all the people gather and you have to, in memory of the departed soul, and I had the very unpleasant duty of going there and having to talk about this life and death. But what was very, very sad because the boy, everybody knew the boy, very nice person and all that. But the one thing that, at least in my heart, found satisfaction in spite of all that misery, everybody there had like tears in their eyes. And the only one person who was consoling people was that mother. She was the one consoling them. Yes, because this is not normal behavior, right? It's not that she was not unhappy. It's not, you can imagine the emotions that she herself went through. And it was not easy for her either. This is not easy. It's not like, okay, she took it happily. She didn't. She was miserable. Her eyes were also red. But it was she who was consoling them. And something worth learning from. Every time we are in a misery, we expect somebody to come and console us. Even at that point, she was consoling the other. So yes, very difficult. But there's one thing that will help you keep your head above the surface of water. Life is such that it is unpredictable. Who would have imagined it? When she called me and she told me, I was like absolutely, taken aback because I didn't know. She told me that we're having the wedding, we're doing X, Y, and Z. And then I heard that he wasn't well, just like from the class members and all. And she called me up to tell me he's no more. Literally like that. No more? Like, completely shocking news. I'm sure all of you must be feeling hurt. You don't know the lady, you don't know her son, but you can feel the pain, right? And she kept her head above the surface. Not that she didn't feel the pain, of course she felt the pain, how can she not? But she kept her head above the surface. Her husband was a very nice man, somebody everybody appreciates him so much, went into depression. That's not believable, right? You have a business empire, you're handing over Some parts to this person, some parts to that son. The whole thing just collapses on him. He was in depression. Now, he was a very good man. Maybe he's a better man than her. I don't know. I'm not making any judgment on who is better or who was. But he is somebody everybody respects. He's a very good man. They will talk about him and saying, see, she attends classes, but see what he is like. People make statements like that. And we all may agree also, yeah, maybe. But when it comes to effort in dealing with the situation, only if you're trained, you're going to know how to do this. So please understand. So Ganesh, the point of it is, a horrible thing can happen to any one of us in our life at any time. This is the nature of life. Please be prepared. Don't expect horrible things to happen in your life and say, oh my God, something terrible is going to happen. No. With the God's grace, nothing horrible will happen. But that possibility always exists. You better fortify yourself before that thing happens. There are young women who have lost their husbands prematurely. Not easy. There's a girl. I can tell you so many stories about people and how they have suffered. And because I'm not always in touch with all the students who have been in the class in all these years, but they keep in touch occasionally. So there was this girl who was so dedicated to the class that she had attended the class even on the very day of her marriage. I'm not going to miss her class. On the day of the marriage also she attended. And very fortunately, she had like a really happy marriage life. Really happy marriage life. Obviously, no, if you are even slightly detached, you were able to manage it very well. And beautiful life, and everybody said this was the best son-in-law because he did not only for his wife, he took care of the family. And like a few years later, I found out that he had passed away. Young girl. When everything is so good. Not that they were fighting every day and then he passed away. They were not. Now what? Now how can you? What can you say? This person is gone now. There's nothing to be said. The emotion will be there. You're not going to rid yourself of that emotion. How can you? Or something not to feel. You will feel. But please let your intellect be fortified to give you some amount of buffering in this whole thing. Remember, when you drive the car, the smoothness of your journey is not based on the road alone. You know that, right? When you drive your car, the ups and downs of the road affect your car to the extent, or don't affect your car to the extent.
Maintenance of your car.
What?
Engine of the car.
The skill of the driver.
The way you drive.
Your car itself has a cushioning effect when you drive. Haven't you noticed some cars on the same road give you a smooth ride? Huh?
Shock absorbers of the road.
Correct. Very good. Poonam, you said that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, since nobody said that, I decided to use English instead of it. Correct. Shock absorbers. How are your shock absorbers? It's not going to smoothen out the road, but it'll keep you safe. So when you're having a bad ride, Vedanta says, please attend to the shock absorbers. There is a natural cushioning effect. And to which you say, you're telling me about my shock absorbers. Have you seen the next, how bad the road is? Yes, I see how bad the road is, but I know that no matter how bad the road is, if your shock absorbers are good, if your buffers are good, you will be protected. No matter how bad the accident is, if your airbag works, you will be protected. So don't tell me about what happened. Please fix what is your precaution in that. Please fix that. You have a method. Please fix.
Thank you, ma'am. It's scary, but there's a little bit
Ganesh,
of
are
hope.
you okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I told it's scary, but at least there's a little bit of hope through studies
There
and.
is, yeah, there's more than a little bit of hope. If you reach a state of Buddhahood, if you reach that, if you put in that kind of work, the whole world can turn upside down, nothing will happen to you. That's what happened to Rama, right? He had to leave his kingdom and walk out one fine day. Just leave everything. Try it now. You try it yourself. You don't understand what Rama did, just walk out of your house. You'll find out what he did. He walked out of a kingdom. Everybody was crying. He was the only fellow not crying. Even we cry. Whenever we hear the story, we also cry. The only person who did not cry when Ram left Ayodhya is Ram. And centuries of us have cried after that. Think of this. Think of the power that you have in your hands. Think of what you could really do. Imagine this. If you were Rama, not only you will not be affected, you will protect everybody too. This is the way that India maintained the grace and dignity of a nation. We may not be able to affect everybody, but let's do it ourselves. If all of us in the class, all 50 odd of us in the class today, decide to move this envelope slightly forward, and we ourselves become that person, we will take care of the country. Don't have to worry. We'll manage everybody. Deepak, is there a way to genuinely know at what level will one sink before the event actually happens? Yes, Deepak, you assume that I'm going to completely sink. That you have some pressure on you to work. And work means what? Nobody's asking for crazy work on Vedanta. Vedanta is the world's most relaxing work. It's not even like, it's some horrible thing we have to do and then, something will happen. When they train in the military and all that, and even in mixed martial arts, I understand that they beat them with sticks. And it's called conditioning. Do you people know that? They beat them, they pick them up, they throw them. Bapre, I don't want to do all this. How much to condition? In the military, have you seen how they condition them? They make them, Mr. Naik, who is a diver, he's from the class, and he was telling me about how they train the divers. They make them swim for 20 kilometers and things like that. And even if you are going to be an astronaut, how they train you. The torture that thing is, I don't think I'll be able to go through the training, forget trying to actually do what those guys do. And look at Vedanta, so comfortable, so smooth, koi problem hi nahi hai yahan pe. You're going to get conditioned while having a good time. What can you want more than this? I don't understand. Every part, even doctors, they are also made that interns and all, they have 24-hour shifts and then 32-hour shifts or some horrible thing like that. And then they are able to do whatever work they're supposed to do. We are so lucky. Aram se sab karte rehte hain. So, just do it. Oh, Mamita. So my tools are sadhana, prayer, study, and action. Is that correct? Yes, it's correct, Mamita. But I hope you understand what these things mean. It is my frustration with not knowing whether people are actually getting it that that has started that residential program. Once when you live over there, hopefully everyone will get what it really means. Just all these are hopes. We have to just continue doing our work. Who knows whether any hope will come true or not? But definitely here is something that people should know. Okay, so are you clear about this simple idea? What was an idea? Think of the self. If you think of the self, you will be freed of the bondage. What are the bondages we have? Karma bandhan. We have shubhash. We have the bandhan of karma itself, of the action itself. We have the bandhan of the fruit of that action, right? Because you want to do that action. If anyone stops you from doing that action, you're going to get bugged as hell. Then you have the bandhan of the fruit of action. What is the fruit of action? Now this ye hua, wo hua, ye hua, shubh hua, ashubh hua, char cheeze hue. You are bandhan in that. You are bound in that. I hope there is no non-Hindi speaking person here. Okay, nobody who's not Indian, right? Is anybody new today? Anyone new? So, if it's not clear, anything is not clear, the point is not clear. Now, don't suddenly go into what is karma theory, but if the point is not clear, please stop me and ask, even if you're new.
I just wanted to ask something, Janki-ji. So when you say that, if you want to not be have any bondages and you should not have desires, and whenever you have or whenever you feel in a turmoil, think of the self. And that sounds to me a little unpractical in day-to-day life, in the sense that if I'm in a situation, I don't believe that I should just peg everything on God and say, "Arey Bhagwan, tu sambhal le." You are there. Think of this. Oh no, this situation is not going to bother me because I'm thinking of myself. So that is a little, I don't know. It sounds a little unpractical and it doesn't sound doable in a day-to-day life. So am I not understanding it correct or something? What is the?
Yes, you're not understanding it correct. Not understood the point. In Vedanta, first thing to remember, unlike every other subject, nobody's telling you what to do. Okay, nobody has recommended that you do something. So first thing you remember is that there is a cause and effect relationship functioning here. As long as I have not thought of the self in the past, to that extent, today I have vasanas and desires. Since I have vasanas and desires today, I will definitely be bound by the things that happen and the things that I want to do. These two things will keep on binding me. And this bondage will be my misery, will be my pain or my joy, both of them. That bondage, the bondage exists because you get some joy out of it. You get little joy out of it and lots of pain, and then lots of pain is there. You stay there in the hope of regaining that little joy. So you never leave that story. So this is just telling you what happened. All right, so far so good, Kanika.
Got it. And I've actually understood further also. This is what you meant by having the cushions and the airbags, that the sadhana which you do in a situation will give you that cushioning and the airbag to go through the whole thing, because you will already have prepared yourself by thinking of the self, by studying about the self. Is that right? Yes.
In Hindi, they will say, जब प्यास लगती है तो कुआं नहीं खोदने जाते. You don't dig a well when you're thirsty. You prepare, you dug the well. And then when there is drought, your well will help. Else, it will be hell. It is that simple. Clear, everybody. Nobody is saying now you're in some trouble situation and think of this help. That's what everybody does. And that's the madness of it all. You say, oh Bhagwan, मुझे बचा दो, मैं promise करता हूँ, कल से मैं ये करूँगा और वो करूँगा. अरे भैया अभी तक किया नहीं है तो अब क्या करने वाले. So don't wait for a situation to come, because when the situation is there, it's very difficult to pull ourselves out. When a person is crying, now what philosophy are you going to tell that person? You can hold their hand, that's it. And if they're not even from class, Arey Papa, even by holding their hand, nothing is going to happen. But you can't help that pain. How can anyone from the outside help that pain? You better know the potentiality of that pain and deal with it right now. And that's what he's telling us. Please don't even do anything. First, just understand what's going on. Once that picture of what is going on is clear, it'll be clear what you need to do. Where is the problem area? How are you going to deal with that problem area? How are you handling it? For instance, when you buy a car, what is your plan with reference to the car? You're going to drive it on the roads. What happens on these roads? There is you, and there are billion other drivers also there. You may be the world's perfect driver, but everybody around is not perfectly driving, right? So therefore, when you buy a car, the first thing that you do is, in fact, you're bound by law to do it, is what?
Insurance.
Insurance.
Get the license to drive.
No, that is you to get that before you buy the car. When you buy the car, you better insure the car. That you will not be allowed to take it out of the showroom only. First you insure it. All right. Now in life, should we not use the same basic common sense? Basic common sense. You are going through life. Even if you do everything perfectly, other people exist who will not do everything properly. Therefore, take your insurance. And insurance for life is one word.
Sadhana.
Study.
Morning study.
Sadhana.
Yeah, Vedanta, however you get it, Baba. Get that knowledge. That's your insurance. But this insurance has got one other thing that insurance doesn't do. When you get an insurance for a car, the insurance it insures you if there's a problem of some
It doesn't
kind.
expire.
It doesn't expire also, and the insurance for the car doesn't upgrade the car. But Vedanta not only insures you against your sorrows, it upgrades you. Means it increases your capacity to achieve more. So you've taken care of all the rubbish that you have done in the past, because you're going to meet consequences, and you're getting so much better to do something better for the future. I can't imagine any knowledge which will give you so much, and yet no buyers only for this knowledge. I can't understand this. It beats my comprehension. I mean, forget people who don't attend class. I'm saying win the class. I would really not like to ask the question, how many people are studying every day? Okay, let us compromise and say study any time in the day, Baba. Best is if you study in the morning. Study in the morning means what? It's not like somebody is telling you to study in the morning. If you study in the morning, your brains will work better. You will understand faster. If you study in any other time of the day, you will put in the same amount of effort and get less. That is why morning study. It's not like, oh my God, it's God's wish that we study early in the morning. He doesn't care you study, you don't study. उसके जीवन में कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. Okay, so if you can understand the process, then you won't find anything absurd about it. Just understand it. Do that much. Just get that understanding. Everything else you do whatever in the world you want. How do you get that understanding? Sannyasa yoga yuktatma. Sannyas is well left. You're going to leave that thing. And how are you going to do it? Yoga. Yoga means to join, to unite. So you're going to leave the lower by attaching to the higher. And then you shall be liberated. At whatever level you are liberated from the sorrows of the level below you. You know, suppose there is a child who has a Barbie doll, who she loves. And something happens and to that Barbie doll and it is lost. And she's weeping and sobbing and weeping and sobbing. Then her parents tell her, don't worry, we get you another one. No, I don't want another one. I want that one. So get one exactly the same. That's the best we can do. Please adjust that yourself to this idea that that's the best we can do. And that's all you can get. The child with great difficulty and conquering her mind says that, okay, then I can have exactly the same one. Conquered her immense desire for that same one. So they go to the store. But the Barbie company has stopped making that particular version. Now she's heartbroken. She says, okay, I compromised. Exactly how we will talk. Oh, I compromised. Now she's totally heartbroken. My question to you is, are you heartbroken that that particular version of the doll is not being made by the Barbie company anymore? Are you heartbroken? No. I think you all are saying no. The question you should ask yourself is, why not? You have been released from all the pains of the lower because you have escalated yourself to a higher level. Now, Barbie makes some dolls, doesn't make some dolls, you couldn't be bothered. But for that child, it is suffering. If you want to release yourself out of suffering, the best way is elevate. When your desires are for higher things, the lower things will cease to bother you. That is called liberation. When your desire is for the self, you will be relieved from any change in the world. And when you have no desire at all, your Rama, your Buddha, your Krishna, koi farak hi nahi padta. We can't do it now because we have those desires. The mast maula गाएगा ना लेना ना देना मगन रहना. But abhi nahi. People say nahi mujhe na lena na dena. My daughter's getting married. I will not accept gifts. That's not what it means, Papa. No, don't misunderstand. It means when you have no desires, you have nothing to do with that thing. Not whether I take gifts from you or I don't take gifts from you. Please don't make everything absurd. But it can't help it because how can you understand something higher than us, right? We can only understand our level things. The child can only understand up to a certain level. So, sannyasa yoga yuktatma, sannyasa, leaving yoga, attaching, joining, by joining to the higher, you release yourself off the lower. And if you persist in this, right, it's a step. You are on this step. How will you relieve yourself of this step? First, put one step there. Then what? Put the second one. Once you're here, you can take the other leg out and put it there. And again, you do that. And you're relieving yourself of the lower. You're permanently freed of whatever is the lower.
I have a small question.
Okay.
In this process, like seeking forgiveness is easy, but forgiving, why is it so difficult?
Because of desire. How can you control your anytime you find anything difficult is because of the past. In the past, the mind has gone in a particular direction. Now to change that direction will always be difficult. It's like if you're driving a car and you're going in a particular direction, taking a U-turn will be difficult, no? So first you have to slow down and then you can turn the car. So therefore, slow it down a little as much as you can, and then slowly you'll be able to turn it up. So we can't ask for forgiveness because that desire is there still. How
No,
can I say I don't want?
asking for forgiveness is easy.
Sorry, we can't forgive, but that desire is there still.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't forgive because the desire is there. You have taken my money away. I want that money. How can I forgive you?
No, I mean,
the
if
desire
it's
is still there.
if it is about some kind of hurt, I mean, which you can't forget. Now, how to forgive people?
That desire is still there. You can't do it like that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So when you elevate yourself to the higher level, the desire will be gone. And then you don't need to forgive. You will not see what there is to forgive.
Yeah. Thank you. Got it.
Okay, oh Bharat. Friday course announcement. Friday course. Huh? Oh yeah, we're doing this foundation course in Vedanta. Starting on next Friday. Basic course, okay? All the basics of Vedanta will be covered. And we'll eventually, I think, make it eligibility for all other courses. Because, it's just so difficult. Somebody has studied so much, somebody has studied so much. It's chaos. And then somebody has studied this portion, somebody has studied that portion, all chaos. So we're going to try and organize this thing a bit. New people, and even old people as of now, but in future, new people have to do the course so that at least the basics are clear to them. So now we're going to do that course. And for those who will ever want to join the residential course, for any further courses we do, we'll try and make this the basics. So we're not going over it over and over again. And hopefully will be sort of some comprehension. So the idea is to start a foundation course, which everybody does and knows the basics. It is once a week, every Friday, 4 months. Who is iPhone?
This is me, Ahir Bhushan.
Sorry?
This is me, Ahir Bhushan from Varanasi.
Oh, Adibhushan from Varanasi. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, great. What is your question?
My question was that Ram was without desire. He did whatever he did, that is for the well-being of the society. But you can't act on what Krishna's. Does he, whatever he did, does that was without any desire?
Krishna, yes, of course. All Avtara Purushas, it means that.
हाँ, they were Tarak Purush.
Avtara, जिसने तार किया हुआ है.
Yes. हाँ. अवतारी थे राम कृष्ण.
What is an हाँ,
दोनों ही
all
अवतार थे.
avatars are. So what does that mean? It means devoid of desires.
But जो कृष्ण ने किया, he went with entire his relatives after Mahabharata Yuddha. He went with all of them to his loka because that was he meant कि अगर मैं चला जाऊंगा तो ये यहीं रह जाएंगे और फिर समाज में वैसी ही स्थिति पैदा होगी जो पहले थी. तो wasn't is a desire. ठीक है, वो तारक पुरुष थे, अवतारक थे, कहीं कोई उसमें वो नहीं है, लेकिन क्या उनका वो डिजायर नहीं था?
एक भी desire, one desire will keep you away from realization. A human being minus desire is equal to God.
God. Yes.
Plus a desire is a human being.
Yes.
तो एक भी desire आप देंगे तो he's not God.
So that is what I'm saying ना. कृष्ण का जो desire था वो यही था ना कि समाज के, उनके सकल समाज के साथ. It was in Bhagavad that he went with his entire सकल समाज. सारे यदुवंशियों का विनाश लास्ट में करके वो सोए जहां बहलिये ने उनके पांव में मारा मृग समझ के.
Okay, now this is going to get complicated, but please remember the basic principle. No realized soul has a single desire, because the principle is human minus desire is equal to God. That's the principle.
Okay.
So if you call him God, no desire.
Okay, thank you.
Namrata. for some of us in different time zones, will it be possible to participate in the online course via recordings? We are actually not doing, you have a point there. What is your time zone, Namrata? Namrata? Okay, so maybe a later course we can do. Later on, this course will become, we need to think about this one, Namrata. Let me not say anything right now. We need to think about it. Any suggestions, ideas, y'all are, we are one team. So please say whatever your ideas are, and if we can incorporate them, then we will. Because we must all look at this as we are in this together, right? It's not like we are doing something and then you are there. We are all in this together and we'll figure something out together.
But ma'am, it might be a good idea if you have the recordings and archive the course, because that will help to spread the word further and make more people benefit from this.
Yeah, we'll keep an archive, yes. Because we would like people to do it in the future as well.
Exactly.
So we'll have to do that. Yeah.